Wait a minute. Before we start today, I have a story to tell. So there's this particular day, as I'm growing up, we used to live in a village, so we have neighborhoods. So we used to have this neighbor. By then, they were the only people who had managed to build a permanent house. And back then, building a permanent house in the village, that was a very big accomplishment. That meant you automatically rich. So I used to play with the friends, now the neighbors, they were young kids. So we played. This particular day we went there, playing since morning. So we played, I think, from 10 a.m. to around, 12, around 1 there. I can't remember quite well. And then all of a sudden, the sisters get in the house. And then now the boy I was playing with also is called into the house. And then I'm told, just wait for some few minutes, we are coming back. You are naive. As a young boy, you are just, I'm just waiting for my friends, we continue playing. So as I sat there, actually it was at the veranda now, in front of the door. As I sat there, I hear my grandmom's voice calling me. So when you hear, when your grandmom calls you, go running. Eh? So I went running because I was just crossing over the fence. And I get home. So I crossed over the fence. The moment I just reached where my grandmom was, she held me and then she pinched me. I was wondering what is wrong. And then my grandmom tells me, I'll quote that in Kiswahili. She tells me, siku ingine jifunze kukaa kweni. And I was still wondering, like, what is it? And then she continued and said, wewe kazi yako ni kwenda kukaa kwa wenyewe. Watu wanakula kwa nje kama mbwa. That thing really got onto me. It really got onto me. And that introduces us now to our discussion today. That is poverty in our country, Kenya. Guys, karibuni sana. This is Conversations 254. I am your host, Brian Nyambati. And I am here with my wonderful co-host. It is really a pleasure having you. Guys, support us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dreamarn TV. And keep it low, Conversation 254, where we discuss matters affecting Kenyans at large, or matters affecting our continent at large. And today, we start our first episode. That is Conversation 254, episode 1. And today we will talk about poverty. Have you ever heard about poverty? Hebu tuambie unajua poverty aje?
Well, for me,
yes.
I'd say poverty is lack. When you lack health, when you lack food, when you lack shelter, good shelter, just pure lack.
And I know, sometimes back I was checking some statistics by this company called Statistica. And in our country, Kenya, we have over 10 million plus people who are living below poverty line. And that means these are people who are living in extreme poverty, which means they're extremely lacking. These are people who cannot even afford $1 to feed or to survive on. So I feel this is a matter that is really affecting our country. And I hear day by day, it keeps on growing. I don't know your view towards the intensity of poverty in the country today. I don't know. But on my end, I could say this is something that is really affecting many people. And you see, some years back, that is why personally I've been running away from something called poverty. I better be broke, but not become poor. And I've seen that from even the story I was giving you. We used to live below poverty line. We used to be there, and it was surviving on what you could get every single day. And you can see the intensity of what it causes or what it does to you as a human being. Today is when I can perfectly understand what my grandmom meant. I didn't know. From the story I've given, I didn't know. Somebody can relate. Umeenda kwa wenyewe and umewekwa nje ya mlango. Kuna ile unasemanga the unfair advantage, kubaguliwa. Hawa wananga. It hurts. Yeah. And sometimes that's a motivation to so many people out here, right?
Well, if I may ask, what is poverty? How can you define it?
Poverty to me? Poverty for me is being in a position that you cannot provide for yourself. Literally, you cannot fend for yourself at all.
Well, that sounds broke.
But you can be broke and you have means. But being poor, or we talk about poverty, being poor is there are no means at all. If you don't have, you don't have.
And you're comfortable.
Sometimes I believe somebody can agree with me. I can't say it is comfortability. Sometimes the situations people get themselves in. Can you say it is the choosing of people to be poor?
Well, that question is a bit ambiguous. Because some people are born in that state.
Yes.
And for me, what I would say, being rich or being poor is just a mindset.
Yes.
It's
true. It's true. I agree with that.
Me, I've seen so many people who are born in poverty, but they are the richest people
out here.
So they knew very well they were born in that condition, but they were not comfortable. They wanted to change the narrative. You see? So
it means you can be in poverty,
yes,
but if you position yourself quite well, you might struggle, yes, but you'll get out of it.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
And I love to quote Bill Gates. Bill Gates, there's this famous quote that usually goes around. It says, being born in a poor family is not your choice, but staying poor is your choice.
That is very well said.
Is a personal decision that people make.
It is a decision. If you're born in a poor background,
yes,
it is upon you now to change the narrative.
Yeah.
Don't be comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the comfortability that makes the situation even worse.
I agree with you. And there's someone somewhere who might be stuck in there asking themselves, mimi nilikosea wapi? There's that victimization, self-victimization that people put themselves in. I was born poor. I was born in a poor family. Or, there's that self-victimization, of which I feel it's also one of the things that is leading people towards that. And that also brings us into a very, very important section that we should also touch on. That is, what are some of the causes of poverty in our country today, or in our continent today? Because Kenya and Africa at large is highly affected by that. When you look at most countries in Africa, they are highly affected by poverty. And people are living really, really below their means. What do you feel are some of the causes of this poverty?
Number one, I'd say lack of education or maybe exposure.
Yeah, lack of education. It's true.
I feel like most of the people who are living in poverty are not that exposed.
They are not that exposed. To also add on that, to my end also, I believe it's also lack of jobs. In as much as, yes, there's self-employment, but you see lack of jobs also is one way that can elevate people from being poor. Because in as far much as today we have the education system that is there are people who go all the way from the village, they study all the way to campus, but they still go back to the village. I know sometimes because of the decisions people make, but I also believe the rate of unemployment in our country and Africa at large is still something that needs to be highly addressed, because lack of jobs is something that is also affecting people, because mtu mwenye hawezi jiprovidea, sometimes they need somewhere they can go and they start maybe working, they offer their efforts and skills for that pay, and that pay can help them scale up. So I believe also lack of jobs is something that should not be left out, because out here people are really hungry and they are hungry for jobs, they're hungry to work. I believe also, to add on the points you put across, it's also one of the things. I also feel conflicts and instability is another thing that's driving many people into poverty. You see, today you might have worked hard, or you might have established your livelihood and the way of living, and you have your sources and means, and then conflict arises, maybe in your area or in your village. You know, you've heard of places like, is it West Pokot? I can't remember quite well. Or Baringo, whereby you hear of killings because of, you know, there is this conflict, misunderstanding, or cattle raiding still is there. And you see, sometimes it drives people into panic mode, and it makes people now stop their daily way of living, because they're going back now to start maybe addressing what is happening, or they fear, I might do this and this happens. So that instability also has caused people to still remain poor, because today umejenga nyumba yako, kesho kitu ifanyike umechomewa nyumba. There's political instability, of which I believe we are making some sure steps in our country, because when we look at our political atmosphere over the last, I think 3 elections that we have done, we have seen it has been somehow tense, but it has been calm and peaceful. We have not seen the rowdiness that we used to see before, and at least we are seeing some improvement of what is happening in our country, and that is a plus. And I believe now it's now people to make decisions and choices to seek growth, to seek or to get themselves out of those problems they are in, or those things they are in, and hang on to some of these small things that maybe the government is providing, and they build up. There is corruption also. There's corruption.
And I feel that is a major cause of poverty.
Yes. In Africa, in Kenya.
In Africa.
Yes.
In Kenya.
Yes. When it comes to corruption, I feel, or personally, my opinions on what I think is, there are resources that are meant to be consumed by the public. But you see, when people channel all those resources now to themselves, it becomes a hurdle. And that's why you see few individuals bowling, driving big machines, living lavishly, but on the expense of what was supposed to be shared amongst the people. So I don't know, do you have any views on that, or from what you've observed in the country?
I don't think I have to.
It's a major cause, yeah.
A major cause of poverty.
Very big.
Yeah, it is a problem. It is a very big problem, because just as you see,
yes,
when some resources are meant to be for people, and you see these people, these big people,
yes,
who are selfish and want these resources for themselves at the expense of others, that leaves these people with nothing, and they have no help.
And also that adds up something very important, that it's also a cause. Because in as far much as we look at the country and people are being told, you know, you go look for opportunities, you get yourself a job, there is inequality. There is inequality and there is social injustice. That is caused also even from the corruption you're talking about. If you don't have a tall uncle, then in this case you will struggle to even get that car. Also among the troopers.
If you don't have a godfather.
A godfather. Because nowadays they're godfathers. Same babas. Yeah. But you see, it's something that is really deep.
Very deep.
It's very deep. Because ukiangalia the rate at which unaingia mahali unakubaguliwa and yeah, it also plays part in corruption. And that affects people.
It does.
It affects people kwa sababu where you're supposed to be treated equally for the justice to be served, unaona tu watu wanakuwa favored.
Yeah.
The poor not given justice. Unapata wao crimes zenye matajiri wanafanya because somebody is using money. And that kind of life is what is leading many people to poverty. I will give you an illustration or an example. There is this case that ever happened between this poor peasant and this rich man. This poor peasant was accusing this rich man of stealing his property. It was shamba and what have you. So this poor peasant or this poor man decided, maybe let's settle this in court. I have everything figured out, the documents and everything. So they go to court, and upon reaching the hearing, you see, they say it's the money that talks. The money that talks. So unapata huyu mtu ile kidogo ako nayo ameenda pale kotini afai mdefend, anaitishwa sijui a lot of money when it comes to even hearing, open case, kufanya nini, law, you understand?
Yeah.
All those things that happen. And I feel the poor never get justice because there's no one to defend them.
Sure.
It's only God who is left to defend them. And God gave work maybe to lawyers to defend his people justly, as it's supposed to happen. But now in this case, this rich guy decides to go to court. And of course, because he has the godfathers that we're talking about, or he's the godfather himself, he gets the through pass to the judge, anaonga judge, and wakati kesi inasikizwa, maskini anaambiwa you're illegally holding this property. Imagine, with all the proof that you have, it's yours, but bado anaambiwa it's not yours, and it's taken away from you. So I feel also such like things are things supposed to be addressed.
Sure.
Especially if corruption is stemmed. Not 100%, even 70%, even 60%. Then some of these things we'll see a difference. We'll see some change. Because those are the things that lead people to crime.
Sure.
Aristotle once said that poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. And I felt that. When you look at things that happen to the poor, ukienda maskini akienda mahali haizi pata kitu, anaomba lakini apewi, inaonekana kama anabeg. So what happens? Look at the ghetto kids. Allow me defend these ghetto kids. They usually say wanaiba sana, they're into crime, they're doing all these things. But do we sit down and ask ourselves, which options do we give them? When we cannot justly serve them, when we cannot give them opportunities, when education to them is, because of that poverty line, wameingia na poor housing, poor education. Si ati hawapati education, but poor education, ile resources, like ni kama wanapitishwa tu syllabus. So anatoka pale na anaona wenzangu walifika pale juu ndio hao wanahangaika, mbona mimi nisome?
Yeah.
You get that? So they are not seeing the price. They are not seeing the price because the quality kind of education they're supposed to get, they're not getting it. Wanapelekwa tu shule kuna kupisha wakati, waeke shule ndio wakati ipite. But the truth is, the problem is not solved.
Yeah.
The problem is not solved. And that is why me, at some point, I can defend these guys. Because ikifika mahali hata 10 bob akikomba peke yake unaona kama anataka kuibia. unamwacha na option gani ila kuibia?
I feel,
Yeah.
I feel on that point I'm not going to agree with you.
All right.
I sympathize with them also. Understand the condition maybe they are in.
Yes.
But you see, someone will not be helping you with that 10 bob.
It's true. It's true.
I will not, even if it's me.
Yes.
You want to come to me today, I give you 10 bob. Tomorrow I give you another 10 bob. I'd rather when you come to me, I know that maybe you're in a situation you can't even help yourself.
You can't even help yourself.
You can't help yourself.
Yes.
So today I'm going.
Yes.
But if I'm in a position to help, maybe get a job. Maybe I know someone who is in a position to be employed.
True.
I think that would be the best option at this point. That would be the best help.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, that would be the best, because you can't be giving someone money
No, it cannot happen.
That is also making this person lazy.
And more dependent on you. It's true. It's true. I agree on that. And you see some of these causes now, poverty, leads to adverse effects. It leads to adverse effects. And this is where now we talk about some of the things you highlighted earlier, the lacking of good housing. So when you are below poverty line, there are so many things. You are underprivileged. Poor housing is number one. Okay. Crime rate increases. Okay. There is so many sorts of evil that happens after that. Poor health care. When it comes to even child care, it is very poor. It's below average of what is expected. Access to quality education is not there. Access to quality resources of education is not there. So realize some of these things, they need to be handled from the root cause. If it's the education talking about, this education is supposed to be fair and square. This education is supposed to be of value to these people. All right? And I feel not going much into it. What are some of the things that can be done? What are some of the things that can be done to change these things? Or, we talked about this topic for so long, for so many years, but we feel it's not still being addressed.
Me, one thing I can say for the viewers out there, and even for us,
yes,
for us to change.
When it comes to now, what can be done to address this issue? Because it has been talked about for so long, for so long. What do you feel can be done?
It is just you,
yes,
out there. Just look at yourself. Look
yes,
at the state you are. Are you happy? And if you're not happy, what can you do to change that state?
yes.
I just feel like that is the question that people need to ask themselves.
Yes. They just need to go back and rewire them.
Yes.
What they're thinking. All right. And to maybe touch on it and to maybe finalize on the same, they usually say, to whom much is given, much is required. If you are blessed with knowledge, teach people, share it with people, especially survival skills in the streets. I will shout out to some of my friends. They're young individuals who are doing great work in mentoring our generation. There's this guy called Brian Nyambego. I've also seen this guy called Ben Walubengo. They're really doing great work in educating or mentoring the young people. And you see, they usually say, if you want to see the future, look at the eyes of the young generation. If you want to see the past, look at the eyes of the old people. They will tell you what they have seen, but the young people, they will tell you what they want in future. And that is what we need. The moment we start mentoring our young generation, we start solving this problem. So I feel even those people who are a little bit older, You've been given knowledge, you've been given experience, you've been given so much. I think it is time you give back. It is time you invest those resources into these people. Educate people. Give people those skills that you've learned over the years. Skills that can help them maneuver in the streets and make a living for themselves. I think I've reached there. I usually say, it is not right to see people die in hunger. Okay? It is not anybody's will to see people languishing or living in poverty. It is disheartening. It is deep, and you can feel that emotion or that trauma even in those children that don't go back to the center. So, for me, I will love to remind all of us one thing. When a poor man dies of hunger, it does not mean, or it has not happened because God didn't take care of this person. But it has happened because neither you nor me wanted to help this person when he needed that help.
Yeah.
That is what I'll finish with. I don't know if you have any closing remarks.
Yeah, my closing remarks is
Yes.
I have this quote that I love so much, and I will quote it.
Yes.
We were not given a good or a bad life. We were just given life.
We were given life.
We were given life. So whether good or bad, it is up to you to decide
What to do
what to do
with that.
with that.
And for the information you have shared today, I believe it is to the discretion of our viewers to choose what they will do with that information. But our humble request is, guys, support, subscribe, like, and share. We would love these conversations to touch as many people as possible. It's more inspirational, and more educational. And we thank you guys. We thank you guys so much. And we remind them again, they do what? You subscribe. See you next time. Keep it locked. Conversation 254. Thank you.